I'm Sharon. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you play more than one instrument, chances are that you prefer one to another, or most of the time that's so. I know that when I often say to my pupils, if I teach them more than one instrument, I'll say, which is your favourite? And they seem a little bit guilty if they say this or that. It's like, no, it's not a trick question. It's fine to prefer one over the other. You're playing both and that's great. I think it's important to remember that, do you know what, we're just enjoying playing instruments. I think the one thing that I would say is to be careful of that you don't try and play so many instruments to the same standard, kind of you're progressing through to advanced grades, which you can do if you've got the time, but just be careful that you don't spread yourself too thin so that nothing quite gets done properly. That's the one thing to be careful of. However, there's a wealth of music out there to enjoy, and I don't see why we can't just dip in and dabble at bits and bobs of bits of everything really. And so I think perhaps piano is my favourite go-to most of the time, but then I'll find myself yearning for a bit of a soaring melody line, and that's when I'll decide, I'm just going to perhaps knock my flute playing back into touch a bit now. And then another time it's just like, I've done all the general practice that I want to do and need to do, and then I think, I'm really enjoying just playing the recorder, and so I'll get my treble recorder out and give that a blow. And I'm really thrilled now that at least I'm past there's a hole in my bucket stage, and I can play kind of something semi-decent. I'm still only a beginner, but I really enjoy that. And then once you start into the family of the recorder, then another whole world opens up. And so, I've got a tenor as well now, and that I find that a bit easier. And it does get tricky at times because the tenor and the flute have the same, similar fingering patterns, and then the treble is very different. That's more similar to clarinet fingering. And so I think when the warning bells start, when my main instrument, say my flute, if I find myself doing a treble recorder fingering on my flute, it's like, it's time to get, flute going again. And so it's that kind of maintenance mode, keeping everything, all the plates spinning in a sense. But that isn't necessarily a bad thing. And so if you play more than one instrument, by all means have your favourite. But don't forget to join the dots between the instruments. Don't forget it's all just music. And don't forget that what you learn on one instrument may well help you on another. I know I say that as well about music theory. It's not a separate subject, it's music. You're just learning to kind of peel back the layers and understand it and write it, but it should still apply to your instruments. And so, for example, if I'm playing a piano piece with lots of weaving accompaniment and melody moving around from the treble to the bass and so on, what I will sometimes do, even though it's treble and bass, is I'll sort of pick out the melody line on my flute so I can hear what the melody itself wants to do. Of course, you can just pick it out on the piano and that's fine, but I enjoy sometimes just picking it out on my flute so that I can hear exactly what that cantabile is trying to sing out within the piano piece. And so, if you've been, let's think of a really random example to try and connect the dots. So let's say on the piano, you've been pegging away at a Bach fugue, which is complex, intense harmony, lots and lots of technical skill required there. But essentially what you're doing is, in the piece you are picking out harmonies. And so if you play rhythm guitar, you can kind of get a feel of what the overall harmonies are by kind of strumming through the chords. Think, that's a G chord with an added E, or this is a C minor chord. And so you've got some kind of overview of what the underlying harmonies are. And then when you come back to the piano, you've got another angle on how to approach this, and you're engaging in the music. So it isn't favouritism. Maybe naturally you will prefer one over another for the most part, or one will be kind of a bit more of a workhorse and the other's just more a bit of a fun thing, and that's fine. But don't forget to enjoy them all, and do remember that it's all music and one can help the other, and it's just keeping the plates spinning so that you don't spread yourself too thin. But in essentials, it's one big happy family, and we can just enjoy it all together. Thanks for listening. Bye.